What if I told you this isn't just another fast sports car, but one that can outrun supercars twice its price and feel comfortable enough to drive every single day? The 2026 Porsche 911 Turbo S pushes performance to a level that almost feels unreal. With blistering speed, a surprisingly refined interior, and a sound that might just be its most addictive feature. But here's the real question: has Porsche made it to perfect, or is there still a catch hiding beneath all that power? Let's find out. When you hear the name Porsche, you already expect precision, performance, and a legacy built over decades, and sitting right at the top of that legacy is the Porsche 911 Turbo S, a car that has consistently defined what a modern supercar should feel like without losing its everyday USABILIT. Why? Now, for 2026, Porsche hasn't reinvented the formula, they've refined it. This new Turbo S is aimed at drivers who want extreme speed without sacrificing comfort, technology, or practicality. It's the kind of car that appeals to both hardcore enthusiasts and buyers who just want one machine that can do everything: daily driving, weekend thrills, and even long-distance cruising. What makes this launch interesting is how it fits into today's market. With electric performance cars rising fast and competitors pushing crazy horsepower numbers, Porsche is sticking to its roots, but quietly evolving where it matters most. The question is, can it still dominate in a world that's changing so quickly? And that's exactly what we're about to explore, because on paper, this might look like just another update. But once you dig deeper, there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. Because the Porsche 911 Turbo S isn't just about looks, it's about how everything comes together. Let's start with the design. At first glance, it still carries that unmistakable 911 shape, but look closer and you'll notice how aggressively refined it is. The wide rear stance, sharper LED lighting, and those massive air intakes aren't just for show, they're there to improve cooling and stability at insane speeds. It looks planted, low, and ready to launch even when it's standing still. Step inside, and the vibe completely shifts from raw performance to premium comfort. The cabin is wrapped in high-quality materials with a driver-focused layout that feels both modern and familiar. You get a fully digital display, a clean infotainment system, and just enough physical controls to keep things intuitive. It's the kind of interior where you could enjoy a long road trip just as much as a quick high-speed run. But of course, the real story begins when you press the accelerator under the hood. This machine delivers explosive performance that pushes it deep into supercar territory. Acceleration feels instant, like the car doesn't just move forward, it jumps. Whether you're launching from a stop or overtaking on the highway, the power delivery is smooth, brutal, and completely addictive. And then there's the sound. It's not just loud, it's precise, with a tone that builds as you climb through the rev range, making every drive feel like an event. Handling is where Porsche really shows off. The car feels incredibly stable at high speeds, yet surprisingly nimble in corners. It grips the road with confidence, giving you that locked-in feeling even when you're pushing it harder than you probably should. But here's the twist: it's not intimidating. Even with all that power, it still feels controllable, almost friendly, which is something a lot of high-performance cars struggle to achieve. Now, it's not perfect. While the ride quality is impressive for a car this fast, you'll still feel the road more than you would in a typical luxury car. And if you're expecting massive changes in design or a completely new experience, this might feel more like an evolution than a revolution, but maybe that's exactly the point. Because what this car is doing differently isn't just about speed or luxury, it's about balance. And that balance might be what sets it apart from everything else in its class. But here's where things get even more interesting. Once you look at what you're actually getting for the price and whether it truly justifies the hype. This is the moment where the Porsche 911 Turbo S either proves it's worth the hype or finally shows its limits. Put your foot down, and the response is immediate. There's no hesitation, no drama, just pure, controlled violence. The car launches forward so hard it almost messes with your sense of direction. And what's shocking isn't just the speed, it's how effortless it feels. You're hitting insane numbers before you even realize what's happening. But the real test comes in the corners. Push it into a fast bend, and instead of fighting you, the car just grips clean, sharp, and unbelievably stable. The steering feels precise, almost telepathic, giving you total confidence to go harder, faster, deeper into every turn. And just when you think you've found the limit, it gives you more. That's the turning point. Because most cars at this level either feel too aggressive or too refined, but this somehow does both. It's brutally fast in a straight line, yet incredibly composed when the road gets technical. You're not just driving it, you're connected to it in a way that makes every second behind the wheel feel intentional. And then there's that sound again, building, echoing, pulling you deeper into the experience. It's not just performance anymore. It's emotion. But here's the surprise. For all its power, for all its precision, it never feels overwhelming. It doesn't punish mistakes the way many supercars do. Instead, it invites you to push further, to explore more of what it can do. And that raises one big question. Has Porsche created the perfect balance between everyday usability and supercar performance, or is there still something missing once you step back and look at the full picture? So after everything we've seen, the Porsche 911 Turbo S delivers exactly what it promises, but more importantly, it refines what a modern performance car should be. On the plus side, the biggest strength here is balance. You're getting extreme acceleration, razor-sharp handling, and a level of everyday comfort that most supercars simply can't match. The interior feels premium without being overwhelming, the technology is intuitive, and the driving experience is thrilling without being intimidating. It's fast, but it's also usable, and that's a rare combination. On the downside, it's not a dramatic redesign. So if you were expecting something visually revolutionary, this might feel a bit familiar. And of course, the price puts it firmly out of reach for most buyers, especially when you start adding options. But here's the key takeaway: this car is perfect for someone who wants one vehicle that does everything. If you're the kind of driver who wants supercar performance without sacrificing comfort, reliability, and daily usability, this is exactly where the Porsche continues to dominate. In the current US market, where electric performance cars and high-horsepower rivals are grabbing attention, this car proves that evolution still matters. It doesn't need to shout, it just delivers quietly and confidently. And in many ways, that might influence where performance cars go next, not just faster, but smarter and more balanced. So the real question is, if you had the budget, would you choose this over louder, more extreme alternatives? Or is the future of performance already shifting in a completely different direction? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next one.